everybody. Welcome to The Banished Zone, the show about flesh and blood, but spooky.
Very spooky.
The show about flesh and blood, but banished.
Mm-hmm.
The show about flesh and blood, but flails.
Mm-hmm.
But it has flails and chains rattling.
You pay life to subscribe.
You have to pay life to subscribe to this show. Hi, everybody. I'm Bryn.
It's Chris. I'm here too.
That's Chris. Of agony.
Flail of
A
agony.
show about flesh and blood, but there's agony.
Oh yeah, big time agony.
Boy, have we missed you?
Oh, we're sorry.
We've missed you, everybody. We're not really actually sorry. This is a show about the flesh and blood card game, classic trading card game that's new. We have so much to get into. Just at the top of the show, I do want to announce that this show, my new goal for the show is to be bi-weekly.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
I have a band. I have a full-time job. I have a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
I do love doing the show.
Yeah.
And, we do the box openings when we can, but weekly is pretty hard for us to get down here and have something to talk about and just take the time out of our schedules. So
sometimes we're playing too much flesh and blood to actually record
that's
the
really,
podcast.
especially for you.
Yeah.
Chris has been dedicating his life
I've been on a marathon the last
heart
couple
of
months.
the cards.
Yeah, as our friend Alex would call it.
Or just anyone who likes Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, which is many people who play flesh and blood, to be fair.
So we're going to be doing the show bi-weekly unless we don't feel like it. We'll do it more if we feel like
maybe
it.
we'll do more. Who knows what happens?
But the expectations I'd like to set are that it's a bi-weekly show every 2 weeks. And that's cool. I think that's a good goal to set. We're not trying to grind for the topics, you know. Let's talk about every single thing that goes on Flesh and Blood Twitter. We're just trying to have a nice reasonable conversation.
You already
about
have
the game.
The Living Legends podcast for that, and they are living legends for how long they go. Didn't they go 2 hours recently?
You know what?
They refuse to be reined in.
That show is a godsend for me doing the dishes. I love to listen to the Flesh and Blood podcast for 2 hours.
Oh no, 2 hours of dishes. I love it.
It really is.
It's
I love it.
Lovely old job.
Yeah, Bill and Kel,
Kel,
thank you so much for doing the beautiful thing that you do. We love the show. But I also love doing my show. We want it to be a little different and have a little bit more pointed conversation going on.
Yeah. I guess our show has free ads, unlike Flesh and Pod.
Absolutely.
Which I'm doing another free ad for Flesh and Pod right now.
I love free ads.
Yeah, they're fun. Why not?
We love all those people. We've met many of them in person. They're very good buds. Another great show, Fresh
Tommy
and Bud.
Fresh, the bud.
But anyway, we're here now. You're listening to this one now, and we're going to continue talking about all of the beautiful things we've done. So what I recall is we talked about how great Pro Tour 3 was.
Yeah.
And then Dusk Till Dawn. I think this episode is just all about Dusk Till Dawn.
We can talk about it.
And we might get a little bit into a little bit of drama that went on Twitter, but we don't need to get too far into that.
Okay.
So I want to touch on, boy, am I excited for this new set. I don't know if you've noticed, but this show is called The Banished Zone. I have a particular penchant for, I don't know, kind of the darker edge, the sort of grosser body horror, spooky time. I grew up goth. I only wear black. I'm that kind of person. And so what I really liked about Flesh and Blood when I was getting into it, or when I started researching about TCGs, because I wanted to get into a TCG, was what has the coolest art.
Yeah.
And at the time, Tales was really good art, but I was really interested in Levia and Chain.
Yeah.
And like this really spooky sort of Berserk Dark Souls style, like gross stuff. That's something that's a little bit missing from the sort of family friendly Pokemon or Magic. I mean, Magic, I'm not even going to pretend like I've seen a quarter of the cards there. I'm sure there's some really gross ones or whatever.
Some scary ones, yeah.
But the theme
I know
felt more
it's a little more like
goofy.
90s D&D gross when it is gross. Like it's a guy stabbing a thing and he's like making a sort of heroic hero face, or I don't know. It's like There definitely are some creepy looking magic cards, especially the older ones. But I feel like as it went on, it was sort of like kind of like Blizzard type art style, where it's like even if it is something violent and dark, it has a bit of a like cartoony edge to it.
And this
very PG-13.
This game has a hard R. Like this is a serious thing that's happening, and no one is having fun. I mean, even the stuff that isn't like straight up like supernatural gory, like something like Mangle. Was a card that really caught my eye, and I actually have a print of that signed by Federico, because I just think I like things that are very honest, and I mean, I know it's silly because it's a game and stuff, but I like things that are very honest and explicit about violence, and it's not necessarily glorifying. Like when people react to a card like Mangle, they're not like, so cool, or they kind of are, but it's like this other like, damn, that's insane. And
could that really happen?
I like the emotion that comes with those kinds of things. So Dusk Till Dawn, while Monarch, the angel stuff has never been my vibe, Monarch is where the shadow stuff is.
Yeah.
And boy, is Shadow Brood something I really would like to be better and be able to play more often.
Yeah. So far, nothing much for Shadow Brood. We have Shadow Runeblade, and we have...
Right. And I'm very excited about Shadow Runeblade as well. So why don't we don't have many spoilers for Dusk Till Dawn yet.
Yeah, not yet, but a few interesting ones.
Lots of people have been talking about it. But the first thing that we got, obviously we talked about Vincent and Prism during the Pro Tour.
Right, that was the very first spoilers from the set, right? Was the fact that Vincent existed.
But then we got the flail. And this is really interesting. I wonder I don't actually know what people's take on this is. Is like, do people think it's bad?
I think people are they're like, it's interesting. It's a two-handed weapon. I think it really depends on the hero ability. Like, I mean, for me, it's like, how easy will it be to gain Go Again? Or I think on Flesh and Pod, they mentioned like maybe there'll be some kind of offhand that Runeblade wants to run. Because if you're running two of these and you can actually attack with both of them every turn,
right? You said out loud that it was a two-handed weapon, but it's not. It's one.
I meant to say it's a one-handed weapon. Yeah, sorry. That's my take. Is if you can attack with this twice in a turn consistently, then you basically have Kodachis that make rune chants, and that is insane.
And I think it's insane, but it also is balanced by the fact that if you do that, you lose 2 life.
You're losing life yourself, and it doesn't have Go Again.
And it's not like a, whoops, I couldn't turn off Blood Debt. You're making the choice to lose life.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really interesting and good sort of turn for the talent. Because I feel like Blood Debt feels like this weird managerial thing where it's like, you never want to actually do it. Like with Carrion Husk, you have to.
Yeah.
Like with Chain.
It just ticks.
Like you're just, okay, I'm on a clock now. And that's an interesting feeling. I like that. But with Levia, you know, the point is to never take Blood Debt. Because like,
just keep going beast mode.
Because the way she works, it's like, if you do, you die. Or it's like you get really close.
Unless you make like some kind of really low Blood Debt deck, those like more control style builds.
And then it doesn't feel like you're playing Shadow.
Yeah, you're just kind of...
And that's... You know, I really do like the flavor as well. But the idea of like tactically losing a little life to do something very strong.
Just wanting to pay it. Yeah, like pay it as a cost. So then you can make your opponent have to take damage.
Right.
It's cool.
Is a new phase, because I think with Levia and Chain, what you're doing is trading basically a status effect, like for a little extra power. And with Levia, it's like bleed. Yeah. Where it's like,
if it builds up,
I'm talking Elden Ring here.
Yeah.
Like if it builds up, it takes a huge chunk, and with Chain, it's poison.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
You can get rid of it with Chain, and it's like Chain is a class that is like, because Black in Magic, this was a common theme of their cards, was like paying life to do something, and so that's sometimes a really powerful effect in card games, because I think people sort of like overestimate how valuable your own life is if you're like gaining card advantage from it, or like power or whatever. And Chain was, I think like that. Like they clearly balanced it, thinking like, well, it's really tough because you have to take all this damage from Blood Debt cards. And then it's like the best chain decks don't really care about losing some life.
Yeah.
And so this is sort of like
this is a more refined version of that, where
it's more
it's like
upfront. Yeah.
There is a couple things in video games, especially in Souls games, where you have to take life to get a buff, or you lose life every time you swing. And that's really interesting to include in the game, in a game like Flesh and Blood.
It's kind of like that scythe, the life hunt scythe in Dark Souls, where it like builds up your own bleed when you use it, but it applies a ton of bleed.
Yeah.
So you have to like either just take damage or use a bunch of like bleed protective stuff, like the ring and the shield and stuff.
Right.
That is cool.
So I love when they do like pretty clear RPG Souls elements in this game. So for me, flavor-wise, and I think conceptually, it's a great idea, because I love the idea of a Katsu who like has free Kodachis.
Yeah.
But it's also, they're two, and they do, it's basically, if you do this is a, I don't know if people have thought about this, but like if you can give go again to these things, it's Rosetta every turn.
That's true. It's 2 physical,
for free.
2 arcane.
You don't have to have any cards in your hand. You do a Rosetta for free.
Yeah. That's pretty messed up. And it's like split up more than Rosetta is, which is...
Yeah. You also don't have, like, you can bank the arcane damage, so you don't have to attack. So you could just like Rosetta, or flail for like 6 turns, and then have...
Well, the rune chants will pop whenever you're attacking, so they won't be like stacking up.
Not with weapons.
Yeah, with weapons.
No.
Rune chants, yes. It's play an attack or attack with a weapon. I'm pretty sure. You played Runeblade, so maybe you remember better, but I think it's weapon as well.
Are you sure weapons don't pop the rune chants?
No, they errated it. So remember there was a whole errata thing.
Yeah. Did it used to when I was not playing? When I was playing, did they not?
It always did. I mean, look one up if you want.
No, it's okay.
I think. I mean, I can look at my phone.
It's okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you're saying that you go 1 life attack. You create a rune chant, and then the next one you do, that one breaks, and you create another one on the back?
Yeah, it would be like that. Yeah, when you play an attack action card or attack with a weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking they don't.
That would be crazy if you could like build them up like that infinitely. But yeah, probably you want to keep one around with these with Vincent anyway, because her whole thing...
So if you could do that, it doesn't say go again. We're totally making it up that you could do that.
That's the thing. It might be that you just want to run one of these.
So it
raises a lot of interesting questions of like what else is she gonna wear.
These couple sentences make this card insane and have a lot of questions. What is Vincent's power? How can we rune gate?
It doesn't say hits a hero, I just noticed. So if you use this and kill an Ashwing
or a dragon or
a dragon or something, kill a little angel, an angel wing, then you'll get a rune chant. So that's cool. And then should we talk about rune gating next, since this ties into wanting to create rune chants? So
then we got Phantom Banshee, which is hard to read, but rune gating says if you control rune chants equal to or greater than Phantom Banshee's cost, you may play it from your banish zone without paying its cost. So this was a little bit confusing for a lot of people, including myself at first. And we're late to this party. I'm sure you've all figured it out now, but you're not allowed to reduce the cost. You simply have to have it. It is free.
It's different than all the other.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder how interesting would it have been if instead of putting the resource cost, they put a rune chant circle in the corner.
That'd be cool.
Wouldn't that have been cool? Instead of just saying that, just like visually change it to be like a purple rune chant 3, and it's like you need 3 rune chants.
Huh. But it also, you mean, in the upper right?
Yeah, instead of the resource cost. Because I guess you can pay.
You can also just play it from your hand. That'd be cool. From hand. That'd be cool looking. If it's from hand, yeah.
I see, yeah. So you can pay
I love that idea, though, that there's a card that only costs rune chants. Yeah. It would just be really bad in this game, I think, because like modularity on cards is quite strong. I could be wrong.
Sure, I hear you.
It would just have to be busted, and I don't know. I can see them.
And that's fun too.
That'd be cool. It's just a card that like costs like break rune chants to play, and that's how they demarcate it. That'd be sweet.
I want that to exist one day.
Yeah.
So this has you can play it from hand,
Mm-hmm.
3 for 7, no go again, which isn't great.
Yeah, it's brutal assault. What's the 3 for 7 generic?
Yeah, I think
Something.
brutal assault.
I think that one might be a 2 for 6. There's another one that's a 3 for 7.
Wounded Bull, is that right?
It blocks 2 though. This one blocks 3.
This one nicely blocks 3. I wonder if this will be a majestic.
Uh,
Usually when they block 3, they might be a majestic.
Well, it's a cycle though.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's just class cards
Rare.
block 3.
I bet
for
it's a
certain
rare.
classes. I think it's probably a rare. If would be my guess.
So it has blood debt. So this means that Vincent is going to have some way to banish things or put them in your banish zone.
Yeah.
And then rune gate them by playing them for free with your rune chance.
One assumes some way of making rune chance as well, because like if you're Viserai,
with your little swords, with your flails.
Sure, you have the flail, so that's one way. And like I don't, because like if you're Viserai, you make a lot of rune chance, but if you're not, the like amount of cards that actually make 3 rune chance is like it's not that many, right? You could like
just read the runes.
Read the runes.
Revels.
Yeah, no go again. Revel you could do, but that needs like another non-attack to line up. You could hit with a red mauve skies. You could make a couple
you have
rune
creepers,
chance.
by the way.
You have creepers, yeah. You could attack and then read the runes and then creepers to still have go again or something. There's definitely ways, but I'm assuming that she will have more ways, like new cards.
It's going to be an interesting play style. There's a lot. I like the fact with Outsiders. I feel like they made a hero that, like with Riptide.
Yeah,
he wants pumps and arrows and traps, and like everything has to like line up. When Riptide is not very good in CC, but Vincent kind of is starting to feel like a little bit similar, where you want to make rune chance and banish and get go again. Whatever. Well, it's funny. If I'm trying to imagine, I wasn't there. I'm sure if you were there, you probably remember this. But when they were doing previews for Monarch, if you looked at Chain's cards, you'd be like, what the fuck is any of this? None of it has go again.
Bounding
what do you
Demagon,
do?
I can play it from Banish Zone. Like, oh, you mean if you saw the cards before seeing Chain?
Yeah.
I wonder what the preview season was like.
Because if you think about Chain's cards, they all kind of suck.
They're not very good, yeah.
The fact is that Chain has an absolutely insane hero ability where he can just give anything go again. And then banish for free.
This card is like, on its own, it's not very exciting because it's like, it's completely on rate. It has blood debt, so if you banish it, then it's going to deal you damage. And then to actually play it from banish, you need 3 rune chants. 2 or 1 rune chant. You're not even allowed to play it. You're just forced to take damage from it. So it's really asking a lot in terms of like set stuff up, like have rune chants, and then you can play an on-rate attack for free. Like so then you can get like above rate and play a card for 7 damage.
But is that on rate then? It's kind of like it's weird. It's hard to evaluate because we don't know what Vincent what Vincent does.
Yeah.
She is still a mystery. Which is interesting, but this card again makes me feel like she's going to have kind of a broken hero ability. Like,
it could be
I think
pretty good.
I think it's going to have to do with making rune chance and giving things go again.
Okay.
I
wonder
feel like
if she's
that's
gonna
the
have...
only thing that really makes any sense at this point.
I was just thinking earlier because I was looking at your copy of Spellbound Creepers and they have to use like a smaller font to like fit all
so
the
tiny.
ability on. And I feel like Outsiders is like that sometimes where it's like Uzuri. I think Uzuri has the longest text in terms of a hero ability.
Really?
I don't know. It's just a guess, but it's like it's really long.
We can look it up.
She has a whole ass paragraph in her hero ability.
I think Azalea's is just as long.
That's actually true. Azalea's is pretty long
Azalea's
too.
is so annoying.
People in the
do what
pits-
it is. It's funny because it's like it's not that complicated.
Yeah, that's what's so cool about these. I was gonna say that about Uzuri too. Is once you're used to it, it's like do the Uzuri thing, do the swap.
Switch.
It's really simple and
but they have to like
clean.
rules lawyer it so
has
you
to be
understand.
written out. Yeah, because the timing windows are important. Like how it works is important. What kind of game action you're taking.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like this set is gonna have like is Vincent gonna have a hero ability like that? Is Prism? I think we're sort of like seeing them start to like stretch the game's muscles a little bit in terms of like what you can fit into a card and like how much ability you can give something. Like Bonds of Ancestry was like that too when that card got spoiled and people were like
what?
Wait, what? And then if you banish that, you search for another and then what?
I mean, I kind of still feel like that about Bonds because I'm just like, what does it do? Do you have go again or not? I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like a menu in TurboTax. It's like
Right.
Like a pop-up. It's like, it looks like you played a Descendant Gustwave last. That means you will have to do this and this. Check this box if you have a card with combo in your graveyard. It's like, that's what it feels like to play that card sometimes.
Yeah, that's the one where you banish one and then look for one from your deck and then get that back.
Yeah, you can banish a card with combo from your graveyard and then search your deck for a card with the same name and banish that one. So you got to have like, here's the one that's banished that I can't play. Here's the one that's banished that I can play.
Yeah, it's not in my hand.
And you can drop it afterwards.
Yeah, and then you shuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shuffle your deck, of course.
And then Bonds gets +2 and go again?
Costs 2 less to play and go again.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
So I hate that card.
it's a good card. So going back to new Shadow Runeblade stuff.
Mr. Vanchi.
Yeah. Something I'm wondering is, like, to what extent do you think Vincent will be able to use the old, like, chain cards?
She has to.
She kind of has to, right? Because it's like the whole reason to print a new hero is to use the old kit.
You know, it would be sort of unprecedented, I feel. Well, this is weird for me to say, I think, because
No, say it.
Well, there's not that many talents. But if you think about it, like, they haven't actually done this before.
This is the first time, yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time we're seeing a new hero with older with established talents, except for Starvo.
Right.
And Starvo is broken.
Yeah.
And so
Starvo is broken.
So it's hard for me to imagine they won't let her use shackles. But she can't just shackle every turn.
No.
What if she makes a shackle
and
then she makes Rune Chance?
You think she can make a shackle and make Rune Chance?
But the shackle, wait, what is it? Shackle just banishes at the beginning of turn.
Yeah.
It doesn't give go again.
No. Oh, you're saying she doesn't actually give stuff go again with...
No. She doesn't have Chain's ability.
I'd be surprised if she even makes like a lot of shackles, honestly. But maybe you're right. Maybe without go again, they become a lot better.
There's so many things that she could do, but she's got to make... They got to use shackles, right? Well, I guess...
Nothing actually... I mean, like, the cards care about being banished, but they don't have to... nothing really needs you to have shackles specifically. One of my theories is that you might be able to, like, banish cards from hand to do stuff. Like, maybe your hero ability lets you, like, banish from hand to pay a cost, and then that lets you get stuff into your banish zone. People also theorize maybe you can, like, banish one card from your deck per turn, so you can't really be like Chain and have, like, 7 shackles.
I think what you got to do is you got to look at Dynasty, which had a lot to do with paying for stuff with non-attacks and attacks.
That's true too. Yeah,
and
like pitch
people
mattering.
forget that the main thing about rune blades is the non-attack attack action combo.
Yeah,
you got to have both or do both or whatever, which makes me scared because there's like the obvious thing of being like Briar just gave everything go again after you played 2 non-attacks.
Yeah.
So that's established.
Yeah.
But what if you get go again if you pitch a non-attack and attack action every turn?
Interesting. You can like just
like that's 2 cards from your hand, but whatever you want gets to go again.
Interesting. Like
including the shit you play from Banish Zone.
Yeah. That could be interesting. Yeah. That is how kind of what they were setting up with Dynasty. Yeah, because it is a weirdly unprecedented thing in the game where when you compare other heroes in the same class, you know, like I always think of Bolton and Dorinthia, where it's like, here's a new warrior.
Sure.
Bolton barely wants to use any of Dorinthia's cards. Like he doesn't really want to attack react with any of her stuff. He doesn't want to play Warrior's Valor. Like,
right, but this is specifically a Shadow Runeblade, not a light warrior, not a, you know.
And the whole point is that like the Shadow Runeblade cards are currently unplayable, and so to like not make them rotate out, they print a new hero who uses them. So it's like it's a weird design problem to solve where it's like they have to pick up like the pieces of an old hero's kit and then make them work in a new kit, but not make a hero that just feels like a reprint of Chain. So I'm really curious how they do that. And then same with Prism, like because the new Prism is
Speaking of new Prism, we've got a new Luminaris. It sucks.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's great, depending on what Prism says.
I mean, she goes from pitch a yellow and have free go again on everything to pay 2 to have go again on something once. So it's a lot worse.
It's a lot worse, and I'm very glad about that.
Luminaris was
we got
too
this
good.
Cool gay card.
Oh yeah, Shiana specialization.
Alluring Inducement.
Yeah.
Which is a Shiana specialization. Also, we forgot to mention, people were pointing out that Flail is the only other weapon besides Talishar that is usable by Shiana.
Yeah, first weapon specialization, which is interesting.
So that's interesting. It feels specifically like they're giving it to Shiana, considering we got a Shiana specialization also.
One of my theories is also
what happened?
Oh, that was cool. That you it would be really good in chain, this weapon, or like maybe they're afraid of them in chain, so they don't want to. Because chain could just be like shackle, swing one, play his turn out, end with one. So that's part of it. I think they don't want chain to have it in living legend format or whatever. Maybe they're also just trying to nip it in the bud, like, and not have another Rosetta, because they were like, that really should have just been a Briar specialization. And maybe they're just trying to like catch stuff like that.
I don't know. People say it should just be an elemental rune blade,
Yeah.
so that the next one could have it too. But I think people would complain about that too.
Yeah, I don't know.
People will complain about anything, as we've seen this week on Twitter.
Yeah.
Alluring Inducement is a cool new Shiana specialization, which I really like.
Yeah, it's a really interesting.
I'm very happy that I got a Shiana at Pro Tour 3. Thank you, Mr. Viz, aka Gary.
From the Bud Rush Bellow.
The beautiful show, the Bud Rush Bellow. We give free ads.
He Bud Rushed it straight to your binder. Gave you a Shiana. Very cool.
So it's gone up since then because we got these beautiful Shiana cards, which I don't think anyone was expecting a Shiana specialization.
Yeah, like a shapeshifter card. But this is the first one they've printed.
But they've been...
I sure was wrong about Shiana. I remember at some point you were like, should I get one? And they were like $50-$60, and I was like, I don't think for like competitive play you'll ever really need to worry about a Shiana.
I keep trying to tell people this specifically. They're gonna make everything good. Everything will get it today. That's the whole point of this game. They want you to like care about the characters and I mean the stuff I get annoyed at is stuff like Taylor, which is like not available to me.
Right.
Like I saw not yesterday. Whenever the Road to Nats was that yesterday? Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, it was Sunday.
Yesterday at the Road to Nats, which Chris top forward and is now going to nationals. Congratulations, Chris.
We got their team.
Shout out to Sean Yang, who we love, and is a beautiful man. But they had a Therion card.
Oh yeah,
the judge lady.
The judge card.
I want that so bad. I want to play her in UPF. I want to see. I want to fuck around with it. It's like I don't love that there. I mean, it's weird because on one hand I feel like it's cool that there's special things for judges. On the other hand, the idea that you can't get it at all, and then you can play them. I don't know. I feel like they should be special, cool looking cards, like the coal foil pummel. Incredible judge.
That is a really good idea.
Like that's crazy. But
I think it's like
a hero, a whole ass hero that I can't play
to make people want.
I'm not a cosplayer.
That card, I don't know. It's like they kind of they need to make it something desirable so that the judges can like sell it if they want to and like make some money. If
That's
it's just
not true. People will buy anything if there's only like 100 of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I don't know.
But it gives it like a cool flavor and a cool like interest. And
I'm of two minds about it. Yeah. I get why it's awesome.
Taylor is tough because it's like Taylor also seems kind of busted in UPF. Like being able to just like re-equip armor is insane in this game. It's like she can just draw cards for free, basically.
It's fucked up, and I want to play her. Yeah. Anyway, we got Alluring Inducement and your Shiana, and when this attacks, the defending hero reveals their hand, and you may choose an attack action card revealed this way. If you do, this becomes the chosen card. That's so fucking insane.
It's really insane.
You could just be like, oh, hey, now I have a pulverize for 2.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I just thought of the fact that you can you copy their hero ability. So if you're playing a Bravo, you're like, let's make my stuff dominate real quick, and then I'll attack. Oh, now it's your pulverize with dominate.
Yeah. What the fuck? That's amazing.
That's cool. Yeah.
Shiana is too good now.
But what if you do this and they have an all blue hand, and you're like,
oh, I'll take your Macho Grande. I don't know. I think
you're right. It depends.
It's not always going to hit, and that's that's the balance, I guess. I do like the theme of it being 2-2-2, and there's like 2 ladies, and everybody wants them to be gay. And I think LSS, if you're watching this, don't queer bait the gays. don't
make them gay.
Make them gay. It's fine. You can say in there that they're gay, and they do seem to be a fairly like woke type of company, but they haven't actually explicitly had a gay character, and it's like, don't be Disney about it. Just fucking make a gay character.
Yeah.
I mean, we barely people or whatever.
We barely have straight characters, really. I think we talked about this on the episode before.
No, we have Bolton.
No. I was gonna say Bolton is the only character who like canonically has a wife, as far as I know. So like,
I bet Reinar has a wife.
Reinar probably does.
Have we even seen a girl brute?
I feel like the Beaten Trackers one is a girl, maybe. I think she has like painted toenails. I'm not sure. I could be making that up.
No, they're just weird colored.
Okay, I forgot I said that. Are there? Yeah, I don't know if there's girl brutes. Probably. I can't really think of any.
Well, I think that's weird.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure, like, you know, we can assume that some or many of the heroes are straight, but we don't really know. They haven't gotten into it that much.
I know, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to see more. Let us have a little shipping as a treat.
Yeah,
is what
Tell
I'm
us.
saying.
I mean, there's characters that seem like they could be
I want
bi.
to see a little love story.
Bravo seems like he's a little bisexual, if you ask me.
Okay.
I don't know. Speaking of Bravo, should we talk
like,
about the?
He has like trad like Gaston, like women falling all over him.
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
Sure, but sometimes
I feel like
he's
Lexi is like insane bi energy.
Lexi seems pretty bisexual to me too. Yeah,
extreme off the charts bi energy.
For sure.
But sure, yeah. Let's talk about this fucking insanity.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, he's serving something. He's serving bisexual realness, I think.
My man is, yeah.
I also love that
he's serving cock.
In this art,
and we're eating.
We are feasting.
We ate.
He's wearing the thing from the like Star of the Show art. This is Bravo and Star of the Show. This is Bravo,
Star of the Show.
It's just like funny to like see that and imagine people like having war flashbacks,
PTSD flashbacks,
to playing against him. Mm-hmm. It's so funny to look back on because it's like I sort of just interpreted playing against Starvo as like me not being that good at the game to some extent, and now I'm looking back and it's like, oh, that was just stupid. Like dominate and go again on demand on every attack.
Not every attack, just the first one.
Just the first one, yeah. It was stupid.
It's crazy, and
I wish I played it.
This is you're gonna get to because now James White has said soon-ish to Living Legend format.
Oh yeah.
Also, one thing that people have been talking about with Living Legend format is, and something I never considered, but is it going to be just the Living Legended heroes, or is it the entire field plus the Living Legend hero?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And I feel like that's a weird question because what would that mean? Like, you could play Icelander with no bans?
I guess.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, why would, like, just completely unbalanced...
yeah, I think it
forever. I don't really.
I think
understand.
it makes more sense to me to like. I definitely have had that thought that it's like maybe you can play everyone and it's just like a free field. You can like see how Icelander does against Chain and does against Star of the Show and stuff. But I think it makes more sense as like only the Living Legend heroes can play.
Like when you've reached that level of power, you get to be in this insane like arena of the gods.
Yeah,
where it's like. Maybe it's not as balanced, but that's kind of fun because it's a special thing. And I think people are making good points, though. I heard somebody, absolutely can't remember who said this, but somebody said that they probably won't be interested in Living Legend unless there's like official tournaments around it. And I think that's why it would take soon-ish.
People are theorizing that
this is a Twitter post that James White made that someone said, will it be coming soon? And then he said ish. So
he also said Ice Ninja someday.
What?
Did you not see that tweet? I replied to it.
No.
It was like last week or something. People were asking, I forget what the context was. They were asking about talents or something. And he said, Ice Ninja someday.
Was he joking?
Unclear. People were like, hopefully a long, long time away, right? Like not anytime soon.
That sounds kind of awesome.
Ice Ninja? Yeah. Because people have joked about like Lightning Ninja where it would just be broken and it would be like more free go
that's
again.
That's how Fi already feels.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It's kind of redundant
Ninja.
to just have lightning. But Ice would be cool. I mean,
Ice Ninja would be kind of sick.
It's kind of what Lexi is right now. All go again and then also Ice whenever she wants it.
No, whenever. But
sometimes.
I kind of like the idea of like going wide but like being really reduced in your power, like you would only want to run like a bunch of blues, so it's like all Kodachis, and then but you're like slowed down, and so you're just like flicking them with the little crackling ice and stuff.
That is fun. Yeah, it's kind of like Ninja Turtle where you're just like Kodachi locking them to death, but with ice. That could be cool. Yeah, I think people are theorizing that Living Legend format might be like side event tournaments at Worlds. Like I don't think that they're gonna do like the World Championship is like Living Legend, and I don't know that they'll do.
I don't think so.
Any kind of big tournament like that. It's hard to imagine because it's like, why would you be like? And now the Pro Tour is Living Legend, so go buy Everfest boxes and Monarch boxes to build your deck. It's like they want the Pro Tour to be the current meta, the current cards that are legal.
No. I don't think in any major tournament will be that.
Yeah.
But I think it will take people doing, or at least like LSS sponsoring things like realm things that are like a realm or min-max doing.
Maybe like a battle hardened
invitationals.
Like a
battle
living legend battle hardened would be cool. Maybe like a series.
Calling.
Yeah, a living legend calling can be
that
fun.
That would be really cool.
Maybe they could make.
I would love a living legend calling.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Maybe they could make events where it's like you can run the event.
If there was dual callings.
There was a living legend calling and a regular calling happening at the same time. That'd be weird.
Yeah, but you could
like split the audience. All the like old heads, like all the Pheno, all the like Prism people, like Pheno would be like, I'm gonna play Prism in Living Legend, and then
when they get big enough, they could do stuff like that, where it's like the Pro Tour is happening, and then also 2 callings at the same time, and there's like the whole building is fucking full. That would be fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have this Starvo card.
Starstruck.
That is cost 7, and it hits for 10. And if you are Starvo, that's 12 dominate. And if it crushes, which obviously it would, if it deals 4 damage, the only attacks that may play or activate during their next turn are attacks with base greater than the damage dealt that way, which I read backwards.
Oh, you thought it was like less than?
Less than. I was like, who cares? You can just, if you're Briar, you're just 3/3/3, you know, like whatever.
Another card with a lot of text on it. Like as they're making the games getting more advanced, it's like every card has to kind of be a novel to some extent.
It's not that bad.
It's not that crazy, but it's
they just use a lot of space, like, and they use a lot of paragraphs and also a lot of explainer text.
Sure. Yeah. It's not a bad thing.
But this card is cool. Messed up.
Yeah, it's like
that's a pretty hard thing to clear, because for a lot of heroes you just don't have anything to do.
I was thinking about
it's
this.
As bad as like Red in the Ledger.
Kinda, yeah, or like worse even, because it's just like you can't even do one thing. Like Red in the Ledger is like you can take one of your actions, whatever it is. But this could be like, people are comparing it to Crush the Weak, which is like lets you not play attacks with 3 or less base power. So, but this is like more, because it has to crush, so it's 4 or less base power, and it might deal more damage. It's dealing 10, so it's really hard to actually stop. If you take 8 from it,
and if it's dominate, it's crazy.
If it's pummeled, it's crazy. So even against another Guardian, if it hits for enough, you might turn them off from like playing a blue attack, or like playing their hammer. I guess like the hammer you can't swing if you've been crushed by this. So it's pretty powerful. And I was thinking about the fact that, like, you know, Guardian, their whole thing with crush effects is that they're disruptive in some way, but sometimes it's like, you know, you reduce the power of the next attack, you put a -1 counter on something, like just ones that actually just like stop the next turn from happening. You have like Spinal Crush, you have Crippling Crush, but there's not that many of them, and so I feel like this really raises the the power level.
Well, it just feels
Guardian.
like when you're Bravo, like when you're fighting a Bravo, everyone has like a story of like, oh yeah, he spinaled and then crippling and then spinaled and then crippling me and then I lost.
Right.
And it's like that doesn't happen that often because there's only like those 2 cards.
Yeah.
But like when it does, it feels fucking annoying.
It's like one of the hardest games to win in that scenario, because it's like they're high rolling you and also just like stopping you from doing any high roll. I saw someone like Discord describe it that way.
If you have 3 more, something like this, that's just like you don't get to turn no matter how much you take.
Yeah.
I don't know,
that's
dude.
Tough. Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
And then we haven't even mentioned the Unity aspect, which
this part I like.
It's awesome, I think. Yeah, because the Shiana card has Unity, where what does that one actually do? The Unity, I forget.
So alluring inducement. I always want to say indictment.
Alluring indictment.
Alluring inducement. This Unity says when this defends together with a card from hand, to create an Eloquence token under any number of heroes control, which we didn't talk about. Eloquent tokens say when you play a non-attack action card, destroy this and the card gets go again. Fuck, Vincent is going to be able to make those.
You think so?
Yes.
I'm thinking, my feeling so far, so the Bravo one makes a seismic surge.
Yeah.
I think these will be relatively limited. I think the Unity will, for each class, will make some kind of token, but I don't know if there's going to be many other ways to make them. I don't know, like, because Eloquence especially, it just seems so strong.
Yeah,
like,
what if Kano could make this? That's my first question.
Right, if Wizard could make it, it is. I mean, somebody already like realized that you could like play it like Kano something, like play it off the top of your deck. You're playing it as an instant, and then in response, Kano again, and then play the new thing. In like, because this is a trigger, the like destroy this, and the card gets go again. So it's like it doesn't actually care if it can't, if some of the destruction triggers fail. It's like the trigger goes on the stack, and then you can do it again, and then it triggers it again, and then gives it go again. So you could just like gain multiple action points with one of these out.
What are you saying?
Sorry. So, say it's like it's on your turn in your Kano, and you have an Eloquence token. Like activate Kano, banish a Tome of Fiendal off the top, and then play that as an instant. So you're playing it as an instant, and then Eloquence trigger is like destroy that, and the Tome of Fiendal gains go again. So in response to that trigger, then you Kano again, hit something else on the top. Maybe a zap or like something like an Aether Flare or something, and then at holding priority you play that as an instant. It still sees the Eloquence token because it isn't destroyed yet. Why not?
It wouldn't.
That's how Frostbites work. Like Frostbites say it costs one more to play and then destroy it when you play something. But if you play an instant on top of the Frostbite destruction trigger, it stays around, and then you have to like.
No, but you have to destroy it for the card to get go again.
It doesn't say that. It just says destroy this and the card gets go again. Those are two separate things that have to happen. It's like the trigger of playing a non-attack makes a trigger. It like creates a trigger that destroys the Eloquence token, and then also I don't know what weird lawyery term for the card gaining go again.
First of all, I don't think they're gonna allow Wizard to make this.
That's what I'm saying. That's
why. Second of all, if they did ever give it to Wizard, they would declare that's not how it works.
Maybe.
However you think like Talishar makes that work or whatever. Like
it's not Talishar. I'm just saying that's how like triggers work. Like triggers go on the stack and you can respond to them. Like that's how aura destruction works. Like that's how Frostbites work if you're Icelander.
No, but they said rune chants don't work that way. Like with Looming Doom. Anyway, we're getting in the weeds here.
Sorry. The Looming Doom thing is just because people.
Welcome to our entire lives, folks. Just arguing about the most finicky rules possible. Yeah. Anyway, that's not how anything works. But I do think they could give Vincent this, and it wouldn't be broken.
Maybe. Well, we'll see. It's pretty good.
Because it's that card.
The weird thing is there's not that many non-attack actions that don't have go again. Like they exist. But
Read the runes.
Read the runes is one.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think
they're heavily in the minority, and so like
I think they could give Vincent a bunch of rune chant making non-attacks, and then this would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Maybe not a bunch, but a couple more. You know, because there's really only like read the runes and blood spill invocation. Some there's like there's like a couple weird ones
there's
that people
aura
don't
that
really play.
Makes one every turn.
Yep, that has go again.
Yeah. It's not much.
So a lot of things are happening. I really like Unity. I think the concept of them being like, please block, it's really good to block, and will actually give you another point of value, if not a whole nother card of value, if you block 2 times.
Yeah,
I like that idea, and I think they realize that like blocking is good, but not everybody wants to do it, and I think that it's cool to be like, it's even more helpful to block.
It's cool to give it a little bit of flavor, because it's like playing cards. It's like different cards do different things, have different effects. They do things when you play them, and blocking mostly becomes like a number kind of affair. It's like you kind of see it in like Fatigue Oldham decks where it's like all you care about is the number. So having an effect that happens.
Dory also gets Unity.
We have a new.
She got a new new specialization. That's a reaction that costs 1, and until end of turn, target Dawnblade gets +1, and damage this would deal can't be prevented, which is pretty cool. It's for her.
Yeah, it's like cool, and
congratulations, Dory players.
Situational
Lexi specifically.
I mean, 1 for +1. It is target Dawnblade, so it's +1 for the turn. So like the rate is not very good, and the effect is like
1 for 2, I guess.
Yeah, the effect is niche, but when it is relevant, it is insanely good, because against Ward, for example, the new Prism that is based around Ward, if they're like, okay, I will take
also
3.
If some
like,
Dromai wants to brush something off, or Oasis Respite, lots of people are doing that now.
Against Spectral Shields, against Oasis, against Crown of Seeds, which Oldham can't really run anymore. So
and especially if your Dawnblade has a counter, it's a 4. So like running a right, if you have a if a Dawnblade has a counter, Or
if they were planning to use spectral shields to like block,
if
and
they
then
instant
soak up.
Oasis and then you do this, and it's like 5 now, and they didn't block.
and now it's not preventing. Yeah,
That's
that's harsh.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then this also has unity when this defends together with a card from hand to create a courage token, which we do not know under any number of heroes' hands. We don't know what
what's
that
cool
does.
about all the unities is that they all create stuff under multiple people's control, so you can use it for UPF or PVE or whatever.
That's pretty cool.
But
so
yeah,
and then we got Belena.
Mhm.
And I think this was out last time we talked.
I think this is one of the first spoilers. Yeah.
Belena is an angel, and I like the idea of having less unbreakable spectra shields or auras on Prism, so I'm enjoying this.
Mhm.
Also, this could be we might get an Irina ally. I was thinking about that earlier.
Oh yeah, I mean this is a light card, so Bolton can
do these.
Bolton could run this card in his deck. It's unclear how you have to if you summon it with a spectral shield like Soraya already is.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they'll all be on spectral shields.
Nobody knows.
But they're pretty different from the dragons because it's like doesn't have phantasm, but the attack is on the ally and not on the weapon like they are with the dragons. The dragons just attack for free. So it's like the board state of a bunch of angels is like not quite as like snowbally. I feel like that's one of the things people don't like about Dromai, and like I definitely find annoying, is that it's like at first it's like okay, like one dragon, it's kind of just like an attack action that you have to deal with on your turn as well. It's like you kill it, you block it, or you pop it or something. It's not a big deal. Once they have 6 dragons and they're all attacking for free from playing 1 red, it feels really out of control.
It's really annoying.
Whereas this one, if you have 3 Belena, you have to give it go again with your new Luminaris, and you have to pay to attack with it.
Well, another thing we don't know how this invokes and how it gets made, but
Yeah.
I think it could similarly get annoying.
Yeah.
If what happens is you can just do your whole turn by creating if you have 4 angels,
Mm-hmm.
you can just be like pitch your whole hand
Mm-hmm.
and then be like they all attack.
Yeah.
And then you like never get
Fatigued?
fatigued.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're just constantly pitching, and then like you can like
That's true.
if you lose one, you don't have to block,
Mm-hmm.
and then you lose a couple, and then you put 2 back, and then you use the rest of your hand to. I can see how it's
honestly
gonna get annoying.
I think that's a good thing though, because I think like the design of the game should have a lot of like anti-fatigue tech in it, and there should be
Mhm.
decks that are really hard to fatigue, because not many people have fun when like an Oldhim fatigue deck is the best deck or like a really viable deck, and there's like it's kind of hard to beat it because it's just boring, it's annoying, it doesn't seem that fun to play for the Oldhim player.
Mhm.
So stuff like that where it's like in like a race matchup you can just deal them more damage and they die. If you're trying to fatigue them and then they have a way to like infinitely deal damage, I think it's good. It makes fatigue players have to like play with more strategy and not just blindly block out.
Mhm.
But I see what you're saying. Yeah, it can start creating a lot of value. Or you can just hit them with a Kadachi and then they take 1 damage, which Ward 4 prevents, and then you lose your ally and all the +1 counters.
So that's the spoilers so
Mhm.
far. We've been slowly getting trickles of things, even though ostensibly spoiler season isn't supposed to start till June 30th.
Mhm.
So this is what we've seen.
There are more people. I saw Nathan from the Card Guys said he's going to have a spoiler on the 31st
Oh, they already know?
of May. Yeah, some people know apparently.
Huh.
So
It would be cool to get one, especially because I love the Banish Zone so much.
would
But
be fun.
we're a twice a week podcast, and that's okay. There's
Whatever.
lots of other beautiful people who have been going for much longer and much harder than us.
Mhm. Hope they get spoilers too.
Hope they get spoilers too.
A spoiler for everyone.
But you know what? It's all fine. I love to see the cards.
Yeah.
That's what's important to me. So who knows? We might just continue to get stuff. But I'm very excited for this particular set. Anything else you wanted to say about Dust Till Dawn?
Nothing specific. It's interesting how much we've already seen.
Yeah, so what else has been going on? Quickly, I wanted to say that there was another kerfuffle online. We're a big Magic player.
I've already kind of forgotten about this jabroni.
It's funny because
what's his name? Hogland. He's from the land of pigs.
It's very funny because lots of time when there's like a sort of asshole or dumbass online, the Flesh and Blood community has been really courteous and gracious and being like, let's not bring down the culture. Yeah. Like, let's just ignore, move on. That guy was being a bit. All the podcasts, all the people were being very kind. Usually, this guy comes on and people are just like openly calling him names,
including Brian Gottlieb. Like, Brian Gottlieb started it by being like, I normally try to be like polite and level, something along those lines. He's like, I try to be nice, but go fuck yourself, Jeff. Because what did he say? He was
go
like,
suck a Frank, you fat bitch. Like people are just like real mean to this guy, and it's like completely deserved. Yeah. Like, he seems like one of the largest tools I've ever seen in my fucking life. So it's fuck insane. This guy. Yeah. He's somebody who I have no history with, but it's very clear that the rest of these content creators that I won't mention in name, but people are usually very familiar. Actually, I'll mention one by name. The one that's been really tickling me is Tarek went on fucking Instant Speed and continued to blankly and confidently, as though it were his real name, call him Boo Hooglin.
I really love that. I thought he was just like getting his name wrong, and you were like, no, he's saying boo hoo, like he's crying, and I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, because that's the disrespect to not even be like, this fucking asshole, to just be like, yeah, so Boo Hooglin is completely incorrect. It's like, he doesn't even deserve like a pointed insult.
Ooh, it's so funny. Yeah, and I love
so what was it he said? I don't know if we
I love a community. Well, who cares? Okay. I mean, I love a community. I love like letting their hair down a little bit and joining me on the I don't know if people may not know this, but I have a different Twitter account that is my personal Twitter account.
Secret Twitter.
It's not secret, but
more followers.
My regular Twitter account is, I'm a little bit abrasive and I try to be funny on there, so I try to behave on Flesh and Blood Twitter and not be too out there and like say things that might offend people who I don't want to offend.
Sure. It's about talking about the game, and that's it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to fit in with all the normal people.
Sure.
So, it's real funny when people let down their hair and they're like, this guy can suck it. It's real. I'm really enjoying it.
It's very funny.
I don't feel the need to say much because I don't really know him, but he did call the game a loot box, which is just like, you play Marvel Snap, you dumb piece of shit. Like,
that's like his whole thing, right? Is he like streams Marvel Snap and he's like, wow, like, great new Iron Man pack this week. And it's like, what do you think this is?
Your fucking Disney slop is better than fucking an independent card game that is the model every other card game has.
You could buy them on the secondary market if you want. You don't have to. Like, the thing about loot boxes, as far as I understand, I've luckily avoided like getting sucked into one of these games, really. Yeah. But to get the thing, you have to open the loot box, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole predatory model. Is like, to get this hero before the end of the month, crack a loot box and you'll get it. And otherwise, you can't buy like Iron Man.
I know.
You have to crack the loot boxes. Flesh and Blood, you can buy whatever card you want on the secondary market from someone else who cracked the box.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing.
There are no insults that like
I can see why this man
on his intelligence and sincerity and upstandingness that would hurt him enough to get him to like behave like a normal person. That's just like, all
he does is block everyone. Like he's like apparently well known for like just.
I didn't even try to get blocked before I got blocked.
Yeah, I think he just uses like chain block things where it's like
no. I responded to him. He responded to me. I responded to him again, and I got blocked.
Oh sure, I was blocked.
Very courteous.
I didn't say anything. I was gonna make fun of him because he deserved it, but I was literally blocked before I could. And I think he just was like everyone who followed like Brian Gottlieb, probably everyone who followed you, just anyone that he blocks. I think he also has some kind of script that's like, I mean, I don't know which one is sadder. Like if he has like an automated system to block people, or if he's like going to their Twitter and just like block on their follower list.
It's sadder if he's doing it with his fingers.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was basically just saying some old silly things, and Tarek did a much better rundown of this on the Instant Speed podcast than we would do because we're running out of time, and I don't really care. The thing is like, you don't need to get mad. My take is like, don't worry about people talking shit on the game, because way more people were talking shit on the game before you got into it. Like, unless you were there during,
that was like the conversation, right?
Yeah, unless you were there during like what Wraith and Arcane Rising, you haven't heard the worst of it. As far as I can tell, like everyone was talking shit about this game constantly.
Right, they thought it was some kind of like pyramid scheme, pump and dump
which
type thing.
Sure, you be skeptical of your TCGs. There's been a couple that since I've gotten to the world, into the scene, like there's been a couple cool looking Kickstarters that people have DM'd me and be like, don't fuck with that. That's a scam.
Oh,
and
sure.
it's like, oh, what? Like it looks cool. It has good art. Like it seems like an interesting system.
Seems like a good scam, I guess. Just like,
everyone wants to print money.
You print cards that are worth a lot of money. And
literally printing money. So it's just like.
And I think the thing with Flesh and Blood is that like some of the cards, like the Cold Foil Heart of Fiendal or like Tunic maybe, were worth a lot of money at the start. And people were like, how is this already commanding like Magic level prices? Like I think they were very reasonably skeptical, and then it sort of led to like a domino effect where it's like the people who were actually skeptical were eventually like, I guess it's just like a cool treatment and it's a rare card and it's a well-designed game, so that's why people like it.
At this point, I think the army of defenders that the game has is much louder than even a big, I think like the fact that the professor has come out and being like, it's good, I believe in it, like the fact that Brian Gottlieb, a huge Magic name, is literally working on the game, like no idiot like content creator is gonna come out and ruin the game for you. Like,
no,
I know it's scary, and it's I think everyone is still 3 years in. No. 4 years in. This will be the 4th year. People in August or October. That's crazy. And I think people are still like real shell shocked from, getting really into games that they loved and then watching them die. Sure. I've never had that, and I'm not shell shocked. So I hope
it doesn't happen for a long time. Hope Flesh and Blood never dies.
Fingers fucking crossed, man. Knock on Dave Smith wood here.
Yeah.
But I think that like that's not what gonna be is not. I think I've said it on this show before, but if you haven't heard me say this, like economically, the only thing that can kill Flesh and Blood is James White dying.
Yeah,
and like that's basically it, because he's in it for the long haul. The investments. There is no, as far as we can really see, there isn't like outside investors that they're beholden to.
I know it doesn't seem like that. Yeah.
So, if you're, I know not everyone's an economist and not everyone's a Marxist. Not everyone like looks at like material conditions. But if you look at, I've done a little bit of research on this because I have been spending money on Flesh and Blood, and I don't want to spend money on something that's gonna just disappear into the ether.
Yeah.
But if you look at the disappearance of things like, the Lord of the Rings game, the Game of Thrones game.
Yeah.
The fucking that really cool looking game called I'm blanking on the title of it. There's been
Star Wars game.
There's been cool independent games. There's been cool like
branded
games.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. That have come and gone, and all of the reasons are that large investors pull the plug.
Right.
The reasons are because the creators and the people who are passionate do not have the control to keep it going, even if they were losing money. Yeah,
that's like the thing about like the stuff like the Star Wars game. I think is a perfect example because it's like companies like that. I feel like they think
Decipher.
That's who made it. Was like
the CCG.
Like a business that owns a brand like that. They maybe think of it more like it's a board game where it's like, okay, you come up with an idea. You put our characters and art and stuff on it. You make a game around it. You release it. People buy it and play it. And they probably imagine that it's like you release it and then like that's the end of it. And don't really realize it's like a video game that's really, really hard to patch because you need to like print new cards to patch it.
Well, it's a different, like Decipher. I don't know if they lost I didn't actually read too much about this, but I don't know if they lost the license. But like you're making deals with the devil when you're dealing with Lucasfilm and Disney and Blizzard or whoever else. You're creating this ecosystem that is based on the whims of suits of a boardroom that does not give a shit about you at all. And this is why I think like Lorcana has the possibility to go away just as quickly.
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
you know, people are saying like, oh, well, Pokemon stays around, you know, like, but like Disney has a long history of just like doing stupid shit and then dropping them. Like, go look at the YouTube channel Defunct Land of all the crazy Disney stuff that Disney tried in the Eisner era to like, we're going to be like kids. And it's just like, we're in a TCG bubble right now and it will break. But the reason I think Flesh and Blood will stay no matter what is because they are currently making money hand over fist right now, which we've seen like from like actual data, which is something that Hasbro isn't giving you.
Yeah.
Not really. And James White, and you have to kind of fully just believe this, has basically just said, I'm going to do this until I don't do it. Like, it could be 10 years. Like, he wants it to go 10 years. He wants to be in his 60s or something when he when he's not running this company anymore.
Yeah. And I feel like it's like you can look at like when you talk about something like the Star Wars game where it's like the suits pull the plug because they're like, the game's not doing well enough. Like, think about how much blood, sweat, and tears went into Flesh and Blood before it even came out. Like, before Welcome to Wraith came out. Of, like, how much work they had to put in to create this, like, beautiful shell of a game.
Yeah, almost a decade.
The concept. And then even then, it's like, think about how many, like, growing pains they had putting the game out. They had balance issues. There was, like, you know, certain heroes were too strong. Like, issues with the organized play. It's really hard, and it's like they had to do all this like course correction and like gather data and like fix stuff. Like, the difference between a broken and an unplayable hero, I think, is a lot finer than you realize until you're actually going to sit down and be like, okay, should this be 3 or 4?
Right, but that stuff doesn't even matter as much as the fact that they've had like James White has said stuff like, we were focused on making this an IP before everything.
Yeah.
Like he's thinking so far in the future about like, why do people want to stay with a game like this, and like how do we branch out and like use the roots of the economic system to keep the game going. We focus on the game, but then we're going to need to like spider legs out and make like, people are going to want a show, they're going to want merch, you know, like so I just think that like nobody is going. The Spoils is the name of that game.
Oh, okay.
That
one did look cool.
Looking game, but like it went away because their investor was just like, can't anymore. 2008 financial collapse is happening.
Right. Yeah.
And like, whoops. Like, if your game isn't going without like outside investment, then you're just at the behest of some rich person who doesn't care.
Yeah.
James is the rich guy who only cares.
Yeah.
So there's nothing else outside of that. So my point is like, don't worry. Let people talk. They're going to block you anyway. Boo-hoogland is going to...
That's hard to say with a straight face. I don't know how Tarek pulled it off.
He's a master at many things.
Yeah.
But he's like, people who are mad at the game's success for whatever reason, like at this point, the game is 4 years old. And it is only growing, and it's only getting stronger, and it's only getting more exciting for everybody involved. And
the Pro Tour was huge. It was like a huge battle hardened, a huge calling. I think the biggest
we did
calling.
A whole episode, one of our most popular episodes, about buyouts, and just like, you guys gotta understand that like Flesh and Blood works different than every other card game. The decks aren't as expensive as other games. Like, they're just not. Like, I've looked at trying to get into Magic. It's much more expensive if you want to play Commander. It's much more expensive.
Yeah.
You know,
there's just so many expensive cards
like,
you need.
And like Tarek pointed out, like, you're buying like the whole set if you're buying that many decks. You know, like it's a whole different ball game. And but. My biggest point that I want people to remember when you're arguing about this kind of stuff online is like, who are we talking about?
Yeah.
This is something that came up this past week. Is just like, stop inventing this fake new player who has no money but has 40 hours of free time that they just want to waste away to like, no, I want to get into a game that would takes hours of leisure time, but I also am dirt poor. It's like, okay, maybe children.
Sure.
There's people who are in college, I guess. But like besides a very specific kind of person, this is not an issue.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing TCGs, you got to buy the games. Like it'd be like saying like, what about the poor starving kids in Africa who can't play GTA 5 on their PS5? It's like the PS5 costs $500 and the games cost fucking $100. So it's like, why are we having a conversation about how expensive they are? It's like when people complain about like Tears of the Kingdom being $70. It's like, shut up.
Video games are not free.
What? You're going to pay $60 and then you're going to complain that you're being gouged by $70 for playing like the game of the year? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I get it that not everyone wants to open their wallet or whatever, and people are going to complain about everything. But I'm just saying, don't complain on behalf of somebody who doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And
also especially when people are like, well, to be tournament viable, you need, I think Tarek makes this point that like you need all this money to play, but it's like you need money to travel to a tournament. Like these are the real luxury in a TCG.
Yeah,
people who can like travel all around the country.
Chris just got into Road to Nats, and like I don't know if I'm going to be able to, even if I get into Road to Nats, I don't know if I've had the time or the money for the flight and the hotel and the time to take off work and like all that kind of stuff. Like that's the harder stuff.
It's a big like vacation.
$500 for a deck is nothing comparative, like and like something that you're going to be able to keep and sell and retain its value or grow in value. Like all of the money I've spent in Flesh and Blood is like mostly gone up. Like if I wanted to liquidate my collection, I'd be making money.
Absolutely.
So I just can't really entertain those kinds of conversations anymore. I just don't think they're worth having because we're kind of in the upper hand now where I think nobody is going to like make a dent in the kind of PR that like people like Brian and the professor are giving it.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Anything else you wanted to say before we get out of here?
I don't think so.
Okay. Like I said, we played the Road to Nats. They're fun. We've got another one coming up this weekend. I hope everyone's having a great time.
Hope you're having a great competitive season. Yeah.
In your Road to Nationals season. I hope you get in.
It does feel good to achieve the goal. I guess I could be playing again, just going for the Jubil, but
Chris, don't be greedy.
I'm qualified for Nats, so I'm letting I'm getting a refund on my ticket for the one this weekend, so someone else can play.
Did you talk to Eric about that?
Yeah, I said I didn't want to.
Very nice.
That someone else could have it. Yeah, I mean it's pretty limited seats. People are on a wait list, so it's like if I don't need to play in it, I don't feel like I should like take up a spot.
I'm gonna try one more time. I top 8'd in Germany. Did we talk about that on the
we haven't.
I went to Germany and I played. Not to play a Road to Nationals, but I was in Germany for work, and on my day off, I had a beautiful day playing at a great. Shout out to Voxymoron. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be said, but it looks like Voxymoron. Maybe I think it's a pun. Yeah. But shout out to that great store, great community of people there in Berlin. We didn't play in the store, so I don't know what it looks like. But it was really awesome to play with the Germans. I top 8'd that Road to Nats and just missed 4. Luckily, I felt a little bad even being there because they, I didn't want to like knock anybody out of contention who needed it. Yeah. And the guy I lost to, he was only going to be able to play that one Road to Nats.
Okay.
And really wanted to go to Nationals
in
Germany.
Good, at least.
And like he's the one who beat me.
That's cool.
There was another guy who basically threw to his friend, but pretended like he wasn't going to, like convinced all of us to pretend move. Like he had like a cracked Katsu deck, and like the other guy was just like sweating it, being like, I really want to get in, and he was like kind of mad because that guy had already had a Road to Nats invite and he didn't, so he was like, why don't you just scoop to me? He's like, no, I'm going to, but he dropped a shitty Benji deck.
So did he
scoop
in the end?
Threw the game.
Or he played a bad deck and
he played
lost.
a bad deck and lost.
That's such a funny way to skip to your friend. I love that energy. Like throwing off the whole draft by sending insane signals because you're just like taking bad cards.
He was just taking the worst cards. It was so funny. He's just letting everyone else have a really good deck by just like taking the worst Benji cards. Yeah. It was funny. So yeah, I didn't quite make it. I did get the cold foil Riptide. We now you have a Uzuri and a Riptide.
Yeah.
I have a cold foil Riptide. So it's been a great season for us. I'm going to go one more, try to give it the old college try. If I don't get in, I kind of would prefer to save up money for Worlds.
Sure.
Just because I think all of Living Legends are going to be there and I want to go hang out with them. I want to see everybody who's going to go.
Worlds is going to be awesome.
I want to go to, I don't know where it is, but they said it's going to be a city that has lights, which really sounds like they mean Paris.
It's hard to say.
Which would be pretty cool. I'd love to go to Paris. I've never been. So that's my plan. I might skip nationals and Chris might go and represent the Banished Zone there.
Yeah.
We should make shirts.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
And hoodies or something.
With the logo. Yeah.
Or maybe our team. Anyway.
We could have Banished Zone sleeves. Something. Yeah, that'd be cool.
We'll make something. We'll
Figure
make something
something
cool. Anyway, it's great to be back with you. It's great to be here. Sorry we had to cram everything into this episode. We're going to more consistently be doing 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks sounds like a good time to record and have something to talk about again.
Yeah. If something crazy happens, maybe we'll see you earlier.
Sure.
And we'll always see you on the opening streams. Remember, if you do want me to open a box for you, we've got some cheap Tales of Aria and Monarch in stock. Just DM me on the Discord. DM me on Twitter. I'll always respond. I'll always hook you up and I'll mail you the boxes and we'll do some fun opening. If you want to do box breaks, you can get in the Twitter. All kinds of box battles.
Oh, yeah, battles. Battles are fun.
Battles are really fun. They're fun for me. They're nerve-wracking for the people who do them.
Sure.
But they're definitely a lot of fun. So click all the links in the description. Please like and subscribe. Please subscribe to us on whatever app and rate and review us there.
Podcast
do all the
app.
things that help me personally.
Yeah.
Follow us.
Do something for us for a change.
Yeah. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter at Banished Zone. That's me. At Blue Plunderun. That's Chris.
Yeah.
I was going to say something I say on my other podcast. Hey, why don't someone said, hey, you never plug your other podcast. But I have a movie podcast. It's called Generation Loss. If you'd like to hear me ramble about movies, it's a little raunchier than this show.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
But we just had a great guest. We had a great episode with Emily Panic. Great comedian. We talked about The Birdcage, which I'd never seen and was great. Such a funny movie. And so that's a fun show. Go check out Generation Loss. It's not on YouTube. It's only on podcasts. We don't film ourselves like savages.
The way everyone wants to see the Flesh and Blood players.
I don't know. I don't know why
they want to see the Flesh and Blood, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we're in the Flesh
meat.
and Blood. We're in the we're all purple in the Banished Zone.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm tired. It's been a beautiful episode. Thank you for being here. Until next time, you're banished.